The Buffalo Bills defense is about to get scary. Bills Mafia, let's be real for a second. Our run defense so far this year has been pretty pitiful. We've really only stopped the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Ravens have run all over us. Thankfully, we've had some turnovers that really changed those games, but as a run defense, we've been bottom third in the league, giving up nearly 5 yards per pop, 5 yards per run, and every team knows it. When we're going up against the Saints this upcoming week, Alvin Kamara might gash us for a lot of big plays because we are not as stout as we should be up front. You felt it watching games, I felt it watching games, and it's the kind of weakness that we don't want to show up when January comes around and everything's on the line. But that's where this flips. That's where things are going to change in just a couple weeks. We're going to get some reinforcements, and there are two guys that are already in our building, and two guys, frankly, who have not played a single snap in this season already, or even for our team. But that clock is almost up. Again, week 7 is just around the corner, and this defense is going to get reinforcements that are much needed that could make it go from shaky to flat out scary. So the big questions: who are these two suspended guys? What do they bring to the table? How are they going to change our defense? And how is that going to fix Buffalo's run defense going later on in this season? That's exactly what we are breaking down today. But hey, my name's Calm. This is Crack the Table. We are all Bills, no breaks. I'm just here to bring you a little bit of joy, a little bit of satisfaction, a little bit of value when we're talking about Buffalo Bills football. So if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, join our community, put a Go Bills down in the comments, but also smash a like on this video. But let's get right into it. So a quick refresher: Hoecht and Ogunjobi both signed with Buffalo back in March. Both got a 6-game suspension for performance enhancing drugs. Hoecht owned it. It was a trainer mistake, he said, but he took full responsibility on himself. Ogunjobi, a little bit differently, blamed a bad supplement, but he never fought it. Neither of these guys appealed their suspensions. They were just honest, and they said, you know what, we got to take it because we made the mistake. Both apologized, and they said they want to prove it on the field that they are themselves and they can be really who they are without some of these extra performance enhancing drugs. And now, as of this week, those two players are back in our facility. They're back in meetings. They're back in workouts. They're getting some treatment. But they're getting ready for the real return, which is ultimately going to be week 7. Now, there is some things they're limited on, but I'm not going to get into the nuances of that right here. But for a defense that's been grinding recently without Ed Oliver, without Matt Milano, a thin defensive back room, our safety's struggling and some of our linebacker play struggling, this is going to be huge. Not only that, but I also expect, not a topic of this video, but I expect Maxwell Harrison to be ready to go by week 7 or 8 or 9 and getting meaningful snaps. But I want to first start talking about Michael Hoecht. Maybe you know the name, maybe you haven't really researched him or know about him as a player, but you probably know him, or maybe you've heard his name from the Rams days, back when they were making their playoff push. This dude went undrafted out of Brown University to being a starter on a contending Rams team. And in 2023, he had 6 sacks, 81 tackles. He was basically everywhere on the field. Here's a guy who is really versatile. He's 6'4", about 270, and can play with his hand in his dirt, or he can just stand up outside. He can move to blitz packages in the middle. He's not dropping into coverage. Frankly, we don't really want him to drop into coverage. But as I was doing some research for this content, for this video, I saw a video of him breaking up a pass from DK Metcalf right off the line. But regardless, he's relentless off the edge, and that's really what we want to see. Last year, he was running and winning about 20% of his pass rush snaps, and that's no joke. That is a very, very good number. For context, that's right in the range where an offensive coordinator has to specifically game plan against stopping him off the edge. And again, you pair him with Bosa and you rotate him with Rousseau. This could be a very, very dangerous edge trio going on later into the season. Maybe we could have all 3 of them out on the field at one given time for an all-out blitz package. We'll see. But Hoecht, again, is a chess piece. We can move him potentially inside as a linebacker, or really on the outside, just pushing as a blitzer. But if we don't, consistently see an uptick from Greg Rousseau, my guess is that we might see Hoecht actually get more snaps than him. But regardless, this is going to be a really, really good piece to move in and out on first, second, and third down when we need it to stop the run, but also to get after the passer, to give a guy like Joey Bosa and to give Greg Rousseau, AJ Epinesa some much needed rest as the games go on and the offenses of the other teams are grinding. But the second guy we want to talk about here is Larry Ogunjobi. Kind of the totally opposite vibe. He's a 31-year-old player who's been around the league. He's been with the Browns. He's been with the Steelers. He's been with the Bengals. He had career highs in 2021 when he was 27 years old, where he had 7 sacks and 12 tackles for loss, which for a piece that was not didn't play 100% of the snaps is some great stats. And he had a really strong run defense, which is really what what I'm looking for. I really want to see Larry Ogunjobi be a stalwart player in the middle of our defense, playing 3 tech, playing 1 tech, really shutting down the A and B gaps. But yeah, again, more importantly than anything he could contribute in the pass rush, I want him to make the run game ugly for the opposing offenses. And when you pair him with hopefully a healthy Ed Oliver in a couple weeks, that's going to instantly improve our run defense from a bottom third, potentially to a top 10, which really matters. Those 5-yard runs that have been averaged on us could turn maybe to a 3-yard run or a 4-yard run, which really has massive implications. It turns a second and 4 to a second and 8 very quickly, and that's where playoff games are won. It might not be the most attractive or the most glamorous position or pick, but it's in the trenches on those first and second downs, stopping the run, that really make a difference for our pass rush on third downs, which again, we've been really bad at stopping. And so the pass rush will help with Hoecht, but let's not sugarcoat this whole thing. As it stands, Brandon Beane frankly took a risk on these guys. He even admitted it. He mentioned in a quote, he said, "We knew about Hoecht's suspension, but not Ogunjobi's suspension. If he'd known both, he wouldn't have signed both." And so that has left us thin on the front edge of the season. But thankfully, as we know, our schedule isn't too rough. We're 3-0. We're atop the AFC East. We're atop, frankly, many power rankings, and frankly about the whole conference. So yes, there is risk here. These guys haven't played all year, and there's going to take some ramping up time, but there's always a chance for us. Again, there's the PED stuff that's potentially concerning, but they should, barring any setbacks or barring anything else that comes out on them, they should hit the ground week 7 and be very consistent rotational pieces for us, and actually give us an edge in the run game very quickly. The gamble, if they do produce very early on, especially Ogunjobi in the run game, could be genius. But let's just again connect it to the field. Hoecht's job, again, his juice off the edge. It gives us potentially maybe 4 to 6 extra sacks and maybe 20 pressures the rest of the way from week 7 on. And that suddenly changes again how teams block against us. They're going to have to slide some protection his way, which is going to create more opportunity, assuming Ed Oliver is back in the game and assuming that Joey Bosa is staying healthy, and they're going to get back to getting one-on-ones, which is ultimately where I think our defense wants to sit. If you're double teaming, you can't double team 4 players on our front 4. You can't double team, Hoecht, Ogunjobi, Joey Bosa, and Ed Oliver. You would need 8 players to do that. There's no team in the NFL that can double team 4 players. And so what this is going to do is this is going to probably free up Joey Bosa or Ed Oliver more consistently off of those double teams to get more consistent pressure. But then Ogunjobi's job on defense is really just going to be to anchor the run stopping, or to stop the run. Now, he might get 3 to 5 sacks and maybe 10 or 12 pressures or so. But he's not about racking up the sacks. It's going to be about what he brings to stonewall the offensive line from pushing us down the field, where that has been happening, where he might actually be pushing up the guards in the center closer to the quarterback and actually collapse the pocket, which is really what we want to see out of a 31-year-old guy and a guy who should just be better at stopping the run than TJ Sanders has, and even Deion Walker has early on in their careers, though we have maybe a high hope for their ceilings. But even for now, we're talking together. maybe 8 to 11 sacks between the two of them, maybe a 20, 30, 40 tackles, but a defensive line rotation. Our defensive line rotation is only going to get better, which means players are going to be fresher off the line, which means they're going to have a more consistent push, which is ultimately, again, later on in the year against some of the teams that are going to be running the ball more as the weather gets colder. That's only going to give us more and more advantage. And so the timing with that then couldn't be perfect. Week 7 is again right when things start to chill out in October. Games get shorter because teams are running the ball more, and that is going to give us more opportunity to play our style of football, our gritty, our trench warfare type of football on offense and on defense. And again, that's right when you want reinforcements, and that's when you want fresh legs as rotational pieces coming in. Again, the stats could be good, but the accountability around these guys, we'll see what it does to our locker room. We'll see what happens when these guys get back in there. Is there going to be some lingering, side effects from them from a social perspective around the roster? Second chances don't erase the mistakes, but they do show character if you come back and you grind. And we really want to see that. So Bills Mafia, we want to accept these guys into our family. That's kind of who we are, but at the same time, we want to make sure that they play with a level of just as exceptional players and exceptional men. We want to see them, be men of high character. And, just an aside, this whole CJ Gardner-Johnson conversation, I love Jordan Hancock, and I think he's a future CJ GJ kind of guy. But at the end of the day, like I just don't know if we bring a guy in who I think has some is kind of a hothead. He's getting older in the tooth. Are longer in the tooth. I'm just not sure if we bring that sort of guy in, but maybe we'll talk about that another time. But again, first, are these guys exploding off the ball in practice? If so, they're going to earn snaps and opportunity by Babich. And so maybe that is going to create more and more single pressure opportunities for some of our other proven talents. But the prediction for me is that we're going to get a pressure bump and we're going to be stopping the run more. But in all of that, I hope it's not just wishful thinking. Drop your comments below. What do you think? Are these guys going to actually increase our pass rush win rate, and are they actually going to increase our run stopping ability? But all that being said, this is Crack the Table. I'm Colin. We are all Bills, no breaks, dropping Buffalo Bills content every single day. Again, make sure if you haven't liked, if you haven't subscribed, please do that. It really helps me out. It gets this content out to more and more fans, and I appreciate that. We're just getting started. But even so, I want to see you in the comments. Let me know. Again, are you more excited for Hoecht or Ogunjobi on our defensive line? Let me know. We'll see you later. Go Bills.